If you're trying to decide between renting versus buying in the Chicago suburbs in 2026, you're not alone. It's a big decision, one that affects your lifestyle, your finances, and your long-term plans. In this video, we'll break down when renting makes sense, when buying makes sense, and what factors families and individuals should consider before committing. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button now. I post weekly videos about real estate, lifestyle, and moving in Northwest Chicago suburbs like Arlington Heights, Buffalo Grove, Wheeling, Vernon Hills, Lake Zurich, Barrington, and more so, you can plan smart and avoid surprises. The big picture, renting versus buying. At a high level, renting gives you flexibility, lower upfront costs, and fewer responsibilities for maintenance. Buying gives you long-term stability, equity growth, and control over your own space. Between these two, there's no universal right answer. It depends on your goals, your finances, and where you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years. In 2026, many people are still weighing these choices because the suburban market is active, interest rates aren't as low as they were a decade ago, and life priorities are shifting after the pandemic. Let's unpack what each option really means. When renting makes sense, when you're not ready to settle. If you expect your job, family situation, or lifestyle to change in the next few years, renting keeps you flexible. You're not tied to a mortgage or long-term property taxes, so moving for work or family reasons is much easier. 2. You want lower upfront costs. Renting typically requires just a security deposit and first month's rent, whereas buying involves a down payment, closing costs, inspections, and often moving costs. For many people starting out, renting is simply more affordable at the start. 3. You like amenities without responsibility. Many rental communities in suburbs like Buffalo Grove, Wheeling, and Vernon Hills include swimming pools, gyms, and maintenance as part of the rent. You don't have to manage yard work, repairs, or unexpected system failures. The building or property manager handles it. 4. You're testing a suburb before buying. Some renters choose to live in a community for a year or two just to see if it really feels right before buying there. This can be smart if you're unsure about schools, commute times, or the neighborhood vibe. Typical rent expectations, 2026. In many Northwest suburbs, renting a one-bedroom apartment often falls in the mid-1,200s to low 1,600s per month, while 2 to 3 bedroom units can range from the upper $1,800 to mid-$2,500 plus, depending on location and amenities. Rent is usually cheaper farther from train stations and major retail centers. When buying makes sense, 1. You plan to stay long-term. Buying usually makes sense if you plan to stay in one place for at least 5 to 7 years. That's when you're more likely to benefit from appreciation, build equity, and offset the upfront costs of buying. 2. You want stability and personalization. Owning your home means no landlord rules about paint colors, pets, renovations, or how you use your space. You can make it truly yours. For families with kids in schools, this stability matters, and it often supports long-term value. 3. You're building wealth. Every mortgage payment contributes to your own equity, not your landlord's. Over time, this can be one of the biggest drivers of personal wealth for homeowners. In suburbs with strong school districts and community demand, price growth over time has historically been favorable. 4. You can afford the total cost. Owning comes with more responsibilities: property taxes, maintenance, insurance, and sometimes HOA fees. So you need to factor those into your monthly budget. But if your finances are stable and you're ready for these costs, buying can be the smarter, long-term choice. Cost comparison. Rent versus buy in 2026. To compare apples to apples, imagine you're looking at a 3-bedroom place in Northwest suburbs. Renting might cost you around $2,000 to $2,500 plus per month for a good space near amenities. Buying a similar sized home might have a mortgage and taxes that feel similar monthly once you include property taxes and insurance. but you're building equity instead of paying rent. Math depends on your interest rate, down payment, and how long you stay. But the general idea is renting is less commitment upfront. Buying is better for long-term stability and wealth building. Lifestyle and priorities. Matter flexibility versus stability. If you value flexibility for travel, work changes, or are unsure where you'll be 3 years from now, renting keeps options open. If stability, schools, roots, community, and building equity matters more, buying fits better. Maintenance and responsibility. If you've gone through this decision already, drop a comment with what helped you decide. Your story could help someone else. And before you go, make sure you subscribe. I post weekly videos on real estate, lifestyle, and moving tips across Northwest Chicago suburbs, so you can plan smarter and avoid costly surprises.